Hello, my friends. Good morning, or whatever time of day it is for you. I'm Annalisa, and I welcome you to episode 14 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. I'm super excited to be here with you today. And as you're joining, my friends, please drop a comment. You're welcome to let us know where you're joining us from. I'm here in Banff, Alberta, and feels like Christmas morning here. Or as I like to call this, the fifth season in the West, Sprinter. So I invite you to get cozy wherever you are. Grab yourself a hot or cold drink and settle into what is sure to be another soul-inspiring conversation. And today, my honored guest, my dear guest, is the fabulous Kelli Gastis. So we'll just wait as Kelli joins. We've been in touch already this morning, and I know she's looking forward to this conversation, as am I. As you're settling in, feel free to share this link with anyone you feel might need a little spark of inspiration, of courage. Today, we will also have a recording available that Kelli will be able to share as well. As she will be one of my collaborators in this new way of communicating through, at least newer to me, through social media. Wonderful. And I see Kelli has been able to jump on, and we're just going to add Kelli. Of you who are new to putting yourself out there in different ways, I really invite you to sit in on this conversation. Wow, Kelli.
Yes, hello.
Good morning.
Morning. Trying to figure out how to do this.
Well, you know what, Kelli? I see you, which is the main thing, and I can hear you nice and clearly.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Oh, there you go. And now I can.
Going.
I love it. I love it. Oh, fantastic, Kelli. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is so nice to connect with you like this. I know we've talked over the phone, and I've read so much and heard about you. I'm just so honored to have you join us today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we're just holding on a few moments as we have others join us. Kelli, I'm inviting anyone to drop a comment if they'd like.
Sure.
Let us know where they're from.
Okay, and you can see me okay? Okay,
Totally.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Kelli,
It's sort of darkerish on my side, so I just want to make sure it's okay on your side.
yes.
Have to look.
You look fab, Kelli. Kelli, where are you joining us from today?
From Newmarket, Ontario.
From Newmarket. Kelli, when you look out your window, are you seeing any of this? Snow?
Oh yeah, snow. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. We haven't had anything. And now in March, what is today, the first day of spring? And we had like full whiteouts yesterday. It was blowing. There's been nothing. Today, it's a beautiful white picture.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad that there's been no problems with the internet here, at least from my end, and you're really clear too.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I wasn't even thinking about the internet. I was more thinking about the outside.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay. I'm thinking both. You know, Kelli, I joke that we have a fifth season in the West and we call it Sprinter.
Okay.
So
That's funny.
Yeah, well, humor is important when we have to deal with any kind of
Yes.
change.
Right.
Yes. So, Kelly, I'm very mindful of your time and also our soul family, those who have been able to join us live. Um, just reminding everyone, and for you too, Kelly, that you'll be able to share this through your networks
Okay,
as well, the
great.
recording.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, for those of you who don't know me, again, I'm Annalisa. Let's Talk Soul to Soul was really birthed out of a desire to get out there in the world again, not only for myself, but to be able to shine the light on people's stories, their missions. That's been kind of a lifelong call for me. And it just took a different form. There was a little detour in the road over the last few years, but here I am. And that's how I've connected with amazing human beings, my soul family, like you, Kelly. And it was through one of the entrepreneur groups that we connected.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and this desire to create these sacred spaces for souls like you to shine is brings me such joy because I know that your voice, your mission also sparks possibilities for others.
Thank you.
And this is the time that we're generating, I feel, more light and possibility in the world. And so, Kelly, there's so much. I'm going to give just a little bit of background about
Okay.
you, and then we'll dive right in, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Kelly is an author and MS warrioress. She's been a real estate agent, a dance teacher, a marketing and promotion specialist, a model, a daycare provider, a fitness enthusiast. One really fascinating fact is that you are the granddaughter of Paul Weber, the owner of Weber's Hamburgers. And when I saw that, it was like, oh my gosh, because I'm originally from Ontario, I remember passing by that iconic hamburger stand. It's a landmark. And so you also served up ice cream and hamburgers.
Yes, I did. Yes.
um, so I want you to imagine those of you who are joining us today, this mother of two teenagers, happily married for 23 years,
Yes, it'll be 24 in September.
and now a best-selling author.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Amazing. Of Fabulous in Flats, How I've Learned to Thrive with an Autoimmune Illness. And I'll just share a quote by Dr. Rob Murray. He said, I love this quote. Kelly may be fabulous in flats, but she lives her life as if she is in running shoes. You know what it takes, Kelly, to be naturally fabulous. And you've learned how to thrive while living with an autoimmune illness. And that is why, Kelly, I am just so honored to shine the light on you and your soul-inspired mission today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yep.
So,
I think
yeah,
even,
please, I turn it to you.
I think even what you said, like it was time to shine the light. I never talked about my MS. Like I never would share it with people. I mean, I worked with people for years. They had no clue because I never
Mm,
spoke about it. Because if I wasn't having a flare up, well, no one needs to know, right? Because I was feeling good. It really wasn't until I sort of brought out the book that then I was really shining the light on myself. So there's a lot of personal stories in there that no one had ever heard of before. And even for me, it was just like, oh, I probably shouldn't say that. Like,
yeah,
and I joke to people and I say, like, you're either going to really, really like my book because you
yeah.
like me, and like, or you'll hate my book just because it doesn't resonate with you, like because it is so personal, which I think that was hard to shine a light on that. I think especially with the world right now because
Hmm.
it's so open, and I think that's why I also needed to do it because I don't want to say I'm old, but I feel
Mm.
old. Like
Yes,
when I
yes,
these younger people that are posting and the stresses and what they're posting about, and it breaks my heart. So I think that's why I'm like, oh, like you just have to change their mindset.
yeah.
Like you need to change, like they don't need to change it, but it's just you come to a realization. And I think my book, I was just trying to share with people just the different mindsets that you can have when you go into this, which I can say that now after having had it for 27 years. I'm sure when I was years
Mm-hmm.
old, if anyone had talked to me like this, I would have been like, whatever. Like,
Yeah, yes. You know, Kelly, it's so powerful what you're saying about mindset and this readiness and openness to make that change. Tell us a little more about that process of when you came to that realization that I need to take control of my health and my future.
I think it was really when it was fairly close to the beginning. And when as soon as I was diagnosed, I was just pushed right into a research program, which I didn't know anything about. I didn't know anything about the illness. I didn't understand anything. This was in the
Mm-hmm.
there was nowhere to look it up. Like I couldn't, have information overload. Like you kind of had to go and buy books. You had to. So that was the way that I sort of researched it. And I was lucky enough that, and in my book, I even talked about this. I was working with a fantastic massage therapist, and
Yeah.
she kept me a homeopathic doctor, which at the time I was just, I don't even know what that is. Like
Yeah.
she was speaking a different language. And I think that's where the shift really came about because I went to him, I saw him, and he just opened my eyes to a new possibility and just a way that I could get off the drugs and he could support me and the homeopathy and natural practitioners could support me, which I think
Mm.
opened up my I guess my mind to just try new things. And then once I got pregnant, and then you just start researching how are you going to raise your kids? Like there's so many things you look into
Mm-hmm.
possibly never thought of before, just because you want to make sure you're raising them with the best health and the best way that you can. And I think it was also through that. So I took lots of workshops. I was always reading things. I was always looking up things. And even from that I learned a lot about. Then that opened
Mm-hmm.
my mind further of just how to take care
Mm-hmm.
of myself better.
Mm-hmm. You know, Kelly, you talk about these people that appeared in your life. I like to call them trail angels that just show up
Yes.
and they hold that hand of light or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. The people that have come in your life, but also there was this openness about you.
Okay, thank you.
It really appears that.
Well,
I mean,
hopefully people like that.
yeah. So you were how old when you started to really go on this journey of reclaiming your health and having more of a say now in where your path was going forward?
I want to say I was probably about 28 or 29 years old when I really
Yeah.
started looking into um, just the alternatives. And I mean, it helped because I was dealing with the homeopathic doctor who was supporting that and was sharing
Yes.
information with me on all of that. Um, and like I said, it was really also just with having my kids, and then it was really having a connection with our chiropractor who continued to share all kinds of information, um, and things I just didn't know about. So it was nice to learn from those people, and it's
Mhm.
just through that I've just always then been curious as to, oh, what would this do? Oh, how could this help me? Oh, I should try that. Oh, like, so I'm always looking into those kind of things, just sort of what other people are doing or saying or trying, and
Mhm.
incorporate that. And even just incorporating, even in my book, just I'm a very creative person, and I think that really helped because
Yes.
you need to have an outlet. And I think my outlet was creativity. I love doing vision boards. I love, anything that's creative and styling. And I mean, I was a real estate agent and I loved that. from the standpoint of, I would help them get their houses ready for when it was selling. I love doing that. I love, organizing, and I love lists. I love it's anything that's sort of, I don't know if it's more of a, then I feel like I'm organized when I have
Yes.
an illness that I can't organize.
Right.
Like I can
Absolutely.
control those little aspects, but I can't control my illness that much.
Yes. 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 So you talk a lot about this, this letting go, this surrendering
Hmm.
of what is beyond your control. And I dropped it, this quote that I loved that you shared. I am letting go of what I think I can't do and embracing everything I can.
I
That seems to be what what you're talking about here.
Well, and I think it's just you come, and maybe it's because I've had MS for so long. You just come to
Yeah.
I know the things I can't do. I know the things that are hard. I know, and I'm sure you resonate with this. Like I know the energy. Like there's places I don't want to be. I don't want to be around that energy. So I know when to step back and say, no, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to participate in that, or, but it's just having an understanding. You
Mm-hmm.
which is and I'm sure that's taken me, and I know it's taken me, years to understand that.
Yeah.
Um, to really not put yourself in those situations, like, and it's okay if I don't do it. It's okay if I don't participate in that, or it's okay if, I can't, I don't know, like just contribute to that
Mm-hmm.
and in a different way. And I mean, that's even one thing sort of in my book. Like I say, like I'm an Oscar winning actress, sometimes because you pretend like, oh no, it's okay. Deep down, you are sad about it, but it's not, like you do learn how to deal with it, and you do learn how to accept it and to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So powerful, Kelly, what you're speaking of and how it really applies to situations like yours where it's a life-changing diagnosis you received,
yes,
at a time in your life when the possibilities were endless.
yes. Well, and I think too, and I'm not saying, but I think because I was young and at that time, like I said, like there wasn't social media, so I didn't really see other people. And I think I just had a full belief. I'm like, oh, you know what? Well, if I have a flare up, they'll give me a pill and I'll feel fine. And then
Yeah.
hopefully I didn't know when another one would happen. So you just continue to live your life and do things. And then if another one happened, oh, I'll just take the pill again and I'll feel fine.
Yeah.
Like I think it was always, you just wanted sort of the pill, which I think is what the world is right now.
Yeah.
Like you have a headache, you go out to the grocery store and, and you buy whatever. I won't say the brand names, but you buy something, you take it to get rid of the headache. But I think
Hmm.
sort of I think at the time when I was young, I kind of treated it like that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I have a flare up, they can give me something.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. But you saw somehow you realized that there was something more going on.
Yes. Yeah, there was definitely something more going on. I was always curious as to, I wasn't curious into sort of the scientific research, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
I was more curious into what else in the world can help me. Like, I understand diet, I understand all of that, but I was like, what else can help me? What else? What other practitioners? What other things can I welcome into my life, and especially into my mindset, that can help me to deal with this, to be able to live, daily and be happy, and and not give up, or not have days of devastation, or just something to really just put my mind in the right spot.
Yes. That question, what else? Wow.
Okay.
It just like, right? When you think about
Hmm.
it, what else? And we are living in times when questions like what else, approaching things with this situations, whatever it is, in our personal lives, in our, whether it has to do with our careers, whatever it
Hmm.
is, our health, asking what else, or I like to use also, says who? Says
That's a
who?
good. Says who?
Says who? Who's telling me this? That I'll never be able to rebuild my life? Who's telling me? Am I
Right.
choosing to believe this? Even if it is a medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make me feel good? Does it make me feel better? Do I like feeling that my world is closing in because I
Right.
can't? And then taking that action to say, these thoughts, this negative mindset, it's keeping me buried. I'm carrying this heavy backpack of negative thoughts. It's time to let go. So what I see with you is you've released, but you've taken that other step and you've replaced. You've replaced those limiting thoughts with possibility through things like your creative pursuits, your writing.
Right. And I think it's like everyone. It's the gratitude. Like I have this illness, but I still have a lot of gratitude for everything I can still do and for everything
Mm,
that I can, because I know, I mean, I guess, and I think I've always thought, I'm like, someone else always has it worse than I do. There's all
mm.
illnesses that are much more difficult. So it's having the gratitude of what I can do in my life, what I have in my life, what I'm surrounded with.
Yeah. Yes. And so, Kelly, you talk about this gratitude, the elusive gratitude.
Mhm.
Um, how do you cultivate that mindset, how do you radiate that and restore it? Do you have some practices that you would like to share?
Well, I do have like daily practices. I have my morning practices where I stretch in bed, which sounds funny, but I hug my knees. You twist your knees
Yeah.
to release your back just to get the blood flowing. I do red light therapy every morning. And when I do that, I have my meditation app playing. So I'm always meditating, always making sure I'm putting them positive into my brain.
Mhm.
Um, and then it's just, I mean, I do exercise every day, but I do functional exercise. I do stretching.
Yeah.
I don't do aerobic exercise anymore. I don't do that sort of thing. But I think it's just coming to yourself every day and making sure you're doing the things that are best for you.
Hmm. Yeah. Doing the things that are best for you. And I'm repeating that for myself and for all of us here so many times because of all this, social media as well, the outside noise.
Oh, it's unbearable. Like, I mean, I see it with my kids. Like, I see all the outside noise that they go through. And I mean, the world they're living in is so different than the world we lived in
Yeah.
when I was there. So I can't even imagine, everything that they're taking in all the time into their head.
Mhm.
When it's a lot. Like, I mean, and then at our age, like, it's all the social media. It is. Everything is always, and I think it's also everyone, just because you hear so much about what everyone else is doing doesn't mean you have to do that.
Yes.
Like, oh, everyone's taking all these, I don't want to say supplements, but supplements. Well, but do you need them? Like, it's all those, like, you have to question, like, just, I mean, I don't want to say it's like peer pressure, but it's like peer pressure, and
Yes.
it's all the ads that pop up when you're on social media. Oh, I should have that. Oh, oh, I need that. It's the same. It's the advertising, which, it plays a mind, like it plays into your mind, and you pay attention, and then you see it 5 more times, and you're like, oh, I should be drinking that. Oh,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm. Yeah, Kelly, I feel this. I really do feel this as well. I don't have kids of my own, but I'm very closely connected to a lot of young people, especially too, and see that struggle. And I think the example that you're setting and getting your story out there, your message, your mission, as well as just in any way we can, is a reminder that there is another way. There is
mhm.
another way. And, and we have the capacity within us. We can reclaim that deep inner knowing, which is exactly what you've done. And I know that's been my journey. I call it a soulful adventure. That journey inwards is the greatest adventure of our lifetimes.
Well, and I think it's hard for people because you have to trust yourself. Like,
Mm,
I think as people, we put so much trust in other people. We put so much trust in people we think have the knowledge, but especially with this
yeah.
illness, is if they're not living through it, if they don't
Mm,
really know it day by day, like we're the experts on it. Like I'm the expert on what my body feels like. You
yes.
know, I'm the expert on what I bring into my body and I know the reactions. So I think it just comes to a point of you have to trust yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And so much of that has been kind of stripped away
Yeah.
by these external distractions and demands. But really, we are responsible in the end for our actions. And if anything, the one thing I've learned, I can only control my thoughts about myself, about situations, about whatever it is, to kind of cultivate that inner sanctuary where I'm able to make decisions from a place of inner peace as an observer, as opposed to a reactor saying, okay, I better go buy that or I better go try that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And your writing, Kelly, it's just, it seems to me this beautiful, thoughtful process of unpacking your journey in a way that may spark for others that shift in mindset.
Well, I was hoping, I mean, I tried to make the book motivational. I also tried to create a lot of humor in it because I do think you have to have humor in life. Things do have to be funny. Um, I don't always look at things or as my illness as being funny, but there are some situations that, life is still kind of funny, like in the way people react. And a lot of people that have read my book too, they don't have MS. And for them, it's like, oh, I didn't know. Like
Yeah.
it helps to bring realization to other people as to what you're going through because we don't talk about it. It is an invisible illness.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't know that this situation is maybe really stressful for you because you're not showing it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look the same way. So I think within my book, I sort of, for some people, it opened up their eyes to stuff. For other people, it let them know how much I was sharing and they liked how much I was sharing. And then they realized, oh, I need to share more, or I need
Yeah.
to, or this really resonates with me. And I don't even have MS. I have such and such. But
Yeah.
this resonated with me because that's the same feelings I'm having, which I didn't think that my book would do any of that. So that was a
Mm.
very nice surprise. I think everything with the book, I'm still just in disbelief that it was received so well and the messages I constantly get and from all around the world. It just, because I just look at myself and I'm like, I'm just a girl who lives in, Newmarket.
Yeah. Yes. But it's just a testament to the power of the human spirit and the power of living true to who you are
Right.
and the freedom that comes when you can share that, when you can find outlets that allow your voice to be, to be radiated out there. We just never know. We underestimate our power to make a difference and impact. And then there's that whole ripple effect, which is why you're here.
Right.
Because I want, this is such a nugget here, a gem of wisdom, of inspiration for someone who might be just saying, but I'm just, we're never
Yeah.
unjust.
Well, it's the same as those quotes that say like, your story needs to be shared because it will be somebody's roadmap.
Yes.
And I think that's, to me, it was just like, okay, you know what? I do need to share my story. And if it reaches 5 people, 10 people, and it helps anyone, then I've done a good thing. Like it's been able to help someone. I shared my story.
Kelly, I'm just writing that quote
Okay.
down because it gave me chills because this is, yes, I am also along that path with you as someone who, yeah, is a call to guide, to companion, and providing these simplified roadmaps that evolve through our experiences, not, and not the easiest of experiences, I think is such a gift to be able to pass on, such a legacy to be able to leave, whether it's our own children or beyond, as you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. I want to ask you just to speak a little bit about writing a book. Like, I know we talked how you would keep notes and things like that, when your kids were growing up. Could you speak to that and just that process of deciding then, I'm going to write a book. This is going into a book, please.
Well, I think at the time, like when I started writing, I was just writing little stories that I didn't ever think they would go anywhere. And then as I was doing more things, then I would write about how I liked being creative and all the things I liked doing creatively, about the little food things, that all the additions I would add into it. And it just, and I think I also did it because I really like to keep busy.
Yeah.
And for the, and it was also just, it's something that kept me busy and I enjoyed doing it while I was working. Well, but because I guess at the time I wasn't into all the games. I wasn't, you didn't play around on your phones. You didn't, like, the phones
Yeah.
weren't this important in our life anymore. Like, it wasn't. So it was just something that filled my time. And then
Mm-hmm.
I just really saw that one quote and I thought, you know what, maybe I do have a story here. Maybe I do have something to share. So then I probably just started organizing it, writing it a little bit more, adding things. Um, and then I just sort of was like, you know what, maybe I do need to share this. I should start looking into how I could publish a book, and even just like, wouldn't that be neat if I published a book? That would be interesting. Like something I'd never thought I would ever do before.
Yes.
So I think it just sort of came out organically, like everything, just all the writing I'd done over the years, because I never thought I would be doing this. And then how I elaborated on it. And then when COVID happened, then that just created more writing, I guess, because I was just had more time on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just the process of bringing it out. And I worked with a fantastic company that helped me do that. And she really helped organize everything, and it made it. And I think doing the book too, because I love being creative, was another really creative process.
Yes.
I enjoyed that. I loved creating the product. I loved creating the cover, the photograph for the cover. All of those things
Yeah.
were very interesting. And I think that helped motivate me, and it kept me,
Mm-hmm.
busy, and it kept my mind busy, and it kept, like it just brought joy, I guess, to me.
Mm. Mm. Oh, beautiful. That's it. Joy. You were tapping into joy. And with that, that just a whole energy comes from that. Like an invincibility, it feels
When
like.
it's different, I mean, I love words. I love playing with words. So even the title of the book, Fabulous and Flats, like
Yes.
fabulous, and then I was just like, well, what goes with fabulous? What goes, how can I tie those in? And then even in the book, like the very first story is just, I mean, that I think was one of the biggest mind shifts, which I'm sure other people go through, is when all of a sudden you can't wear the heels that you want
Yeah.
to wear. You can't, like, so now you're physically, you're transitioning and just wearing to flat shoes. You know, You'll
Mm-hmm.
look fabulous in flat shoes. You don't have to have heels. Like, it was
Mm-hmm.
a mind shift. It was how can I turn this into a positive?
Yeah. Yes. And yes, Kelly, I was so intrigued by the title as well. And, when I think about it, this idea, exactly what you've said here, it's not the external landscape that defines us.
Hmm.
We're not defined by what we're wearing, what appears on the outside, and not even defined, but what makes us the unique, sacred, divine being that we are comes from within, you know.
Right.
And that fabulous, that is what you emanate.
Yes.
And the message to others, I believe, is one that, no matter what is out there, what's in here is
Yeah.
fabulous.
And we're all fabulous.
I love it. And, as I think about, others listening to this really beautiful journey, maybe you're thinking, wow, maybe there's a possibility here for me to take a step. It's that inspired action that you have helped, I think, to tap into for someone who's listening. Being that attuned to our inner voice, like the breadcrumbs led you here. To be able to reflect back and look at your journey is really beautiful. Like it's like you're stepping back from the puzzle,
Yeah.
and you're looking, wow, and awe and wonder. And it's this childlike awe and wonder, which is so beautiful. I think we need to reclaim as adults.
Yes.
I did this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
So for someone who has these thoughts, they're looking at their situation saying, yeah, it's time. What's one thing you would want to leave them with?
I think that that's a hard question. I guess it's just to stay positive. Like, you're going to have bad days, but you're also going to have some really good days, and you have a whole future ahead of you, and you get to decide your future,
Mm,
like it's,
yeah.
and I don't know if it's also like, I have kids that are going to university, a son that's in, so it's like the world is open. Well, it still is for all of us. Like, whether you have an illness or not, there's so much you can still do.
Yeah. Yes. And Kelly, that's so important. You get to decide your future, whether, no matter what age you are or stage of
Yes.
life.
Yes. Well, and that's the other funny thing too. Like, even on social media, you see all those pictures. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing that I love is when it was like they showed pictures of Jennifer Lopez or whatever, and she was 52, dancing on the pole, and then they showed like the actresses from that the Golden Girls, like, and they're like, here's what 52 used to look like, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly true. It's how you want to live, like, so if you want to be, out there doing things, well, then go out there and do things, and a lot of
Yeah.
people change their lives later, and do things. And like, I'm in my 50s, and that's when I wrote the book, and so
Yeah.
everything to me was also timing. Like, when I turned 50, it was half my life. And I think that's when I really clued in, like, oh my gosh, like, I've had
Mm-hmm.
half my life,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then you sort of take a step back, going like, wow, that's I feel really, really old, but then B, it's like, oh wow, that's half my life. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get out, because yeah, it's been half my life.
Yeah. Yes. So much here, Kelly. Exactly as you're talking about looking back, realize these realizations that come, these kind of aha moments, these moments of awakening, I like to call them. We're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And this sense that for me has come, it's done. That piece of my life, but I'm not. But
Yes.
I'm not.
Well, and I mean, it's like a book. Like, your life has different chapters, so this is my chapter now. Is I published a book. My previous chapters, I did other things. This is the chapter now that I had published a book, and now, what's going to be the next chapter.
Yes. And as you're sharing, I'm reminded of this of a guided meditation I shared a couple days ago. Mark Nepo's um, in the Book of Awakening,
Okay.
and he talks about this shedding. But when we're shedding, it's not like we're losing, but we are building around what we've shed. And so we don't, just get rid of all of that, but we build this new life around. And even when I think of grief and loss, which I know you speak of too, and for a lot of us who have gone through different forms of it, living losses are real losses too. But this idea that we don't get over those experiences, events, those losses, deaths, whatever it is, loss of independence, freedom, whatever it is, a vision for the future that's changed, but we grow our life around that, this new
Right.
chapter.
Yeah, I like the way you say that. Yes. Yeah, you grow your life around it.
Yeah. And so this is part of my growing a life around losses, which I have shifted in my mindset to be these gifts that I'm being called to share.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Hard to think of it as a gift, but I mean, I've learned a lot in my life because of this, and and it's changed my life in ways that it probably never would have,
yeah,
or things I would have done or thought of doing, such as writing a book. Like it's not always closing the doors, like it's often opening up a whole bunch of other ones that you never thought of.
absolutely. Kelli, so beautiful. And tell us, Kelli, what now? What next? What's happening in your worlds?
I think what's happening now is I think I'm
Yeah.
energized. I'm definitely feeling even more motivated. I'm really feeling more motivated that I want to be sharing my story with as many people as possible. Hence doing podcasts, things like that. And I just want to be growing my business, I guess, around my book, with other books, with speaking engagements, with just trying to spread the word and just get, motivation and inspiration and joy and happiness, out into the world.
Well, that's certainly what you've done this morning with
Oh,
us, Kelli.
thank you.
I'm just so grateful. So grateful. And Kelli, I want to tell you, I do a lot of journaling, and I in our conversation, just as kind of a little detour here, I'm mindful of time. We could talk forever.
Well,
Maybe you need to start your own podcast, Kelli.
uh,
Who knows?
we'll see.
Who knows?
I might,
Anything's possible.
I could probably do that, but they'd have to be hours. Just kidding. Yeah.
Talking is another one of your gifts.
Yeah. No.
So when we were talking about, how you started, and it brought me back to my mom, and she would write on, the packaging from nylons, and she would write little notes. She had 4 kids, I don't know how she was doing it. Incredible. But she would write little notes about what we were doing. It was really beautiful. And then I was visiting her in a care home where she lives, and they gave me one of her like recipe boxes
Oh, wow.
that was in the lost and found. And here I've got, this is one of those pieces of cardboard where she would write little recipes and just other little notes.
That's incredible.
And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm just, the timing of all of this and this conversation, just, it brings me back to those roots that were nurtured, and what we can cultivate in ourselves but also in others by the living example. And so I thank you for the message that you are living and that you're bringing out into the world. If people would like to connect with you, Kelli, how can they do that?
I would think in the world, it's probably the easiest on Instagram. So it's at
Mm-hmm.
Kelli Gastis, and that's Kelly with an I.
Yes,
That's probably the easiest way. And then from there, I can always message them back, or if it was email, but they could probably the best way is through that. And then, go into the link. You can go onto my website.
yes, yes. And Kelli, I have been sharing your website as well as your
Oh, thank you.
Instagram as well. Um, I will include that information again and with the recording. And I will let you know, Kelli, that I have now stepped into the world of YouTube. So this will also go on my brand new YouTube channel, which is a construction site,
Yeah.
Soulful Adventures with
Well,
Annalisa.
good. I haven't ventured into YouTube yet. Yeah, I'm still in the Instagram learning phase.
Yeah.
So for you for stepping into the YouTube.
You know what? When the spirit moves me, like that's it. But these have been huge blocks, this abyss of technology, I've got to tell you, Kelli.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I completely agree.
Yeah, yeah, soul sister, you get it, you get it. But we're doing it. We're doing it. We companion each other, and this circle grows. This energy of creativity, Kelli, of possibility
Yeah.
grows. And that's how we're generating more light, more hope in this world, which is so needed at this time.
Yeah, I think it is needed at this time. We're just bombarded with negative information daily.
Yeah. And so the invitation, everyone, is to take a step. Though whatever little thing you can do now to step into that light of yours, that radiance, do it.
Yeah,
Just do it.
I love how you keep saying step into the light. I really like that statement.
Thanks, Kelly. That's what we're doing. But we can't always do it alone. Especially when we have these desires within, it's not always the how, it's the who that parachutes into our life.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something you and I meeting, like you parachuted into my life. Like it's who you meet, where you meet them, and being open to meeting.
Yeah. So let's be open to the signs as we carry on with our days. Is there anything else, Kelly, you would like to share?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, we can go back to the Webers. I used to have a really strong right arm from scooping ice cream. It really
Yes.
builds your muscles.
Well, and it was also building other muscles, all these experiences that you
Yes.
had.
Yeah. Yeah, it is things like that yeah, it is the experiences that you do have throughout your life that you kind of have to reflect back on.
Yeah. And again, that openness to step into, you research, real estate, dancing, like you did so many daycare, you've done so many different things, which I think have further kind of the expansion just kept happening, you know?
Well, and I think it was things like that. It was that chapter in my life. It was just, okay, what's going to happen now? Okay, what do I have to shift into now? What do I have to bring in now? Like it was everything just worked in my time when it needed to work and it
Mhm.
did.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to your next book or whatever it is. Kelly, please do let's stay connected because I would love to continue to share your journey, this chapter, the next chapter, whatever it
Okay,
is.
great. Yes, no, I would definitely like to keep contacting with you. Yeah.
Definitely. And if you're ever my way, get in touch.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and if you're ever this way, definitely get in touch. We'll grab a coffee.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, I really want to thank everyone who's joined us on this particular episode 14 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. And I want to take just a moment of gratitude for accompanying me on a journey that's had a lot of twists and turns, unexpected twists and turns, as have all of you, Kelly, and others. And just a reminder that you are seen, you are heard, you are companioned exactly as you are. And there are people out there like us who believe in you.
Thank you.
Thank you, soul sister. Thank you, soul family. I wish you a beautiful, blessed day.
Yes, thank you very much. You have a good day too.
Thank you. Ciao for now.
Bye.